Hello and welcome back to episode 4 of our Satisfactory survival series. In our last episode we went from this to this, which was quite a lot of work and quite a lot of fun. And in today's video I'm planning to do something that's rather exciting and should also be a bit of a challenge as well. Well, remember those smart platings we were able to craft towards the end of yesterday's episode? Well, they are used in our space elevator to unlock the very first phase. The problem is though, our space elevator is absolutely gigantic, and we don't have a plot of land to fit it in. So that's our first problem. Where the hell do we put this thing? Well, in all honesty, there is a plot of land right here that's sort of squashed in between our iron nodes and our limestone node. So if it can fit in here, that would be great. But we do have to mess around a little bit with the elevations, because as of right now, there is no chance this thing can currently fit. Yeah, as of right now, this looks really weird, but it does fit. And I think that after a little bit of landscaping, it could actually end up looking rather nice. So I'm going to do something rather similar to what I did over here, and very quickly I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support in the series so far. This is my final video that I'm pre-recording before 1.1 officially comes out, so I really hope that you guys are enjoying the series, and if you are, do let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you might want to add in the series and what you might want me to change. It really does help the channel, and of course lets me know what you guys like. But enough of all of that, now we've got some terraforming to do. And here we have it, the new platform for the space elevator. I did have to try and squeeze this in, but I think overall it looks fine. I'm sure it will end up looking a lot better when we finally got machines placed on it. So then, the space elevator, if I was just to plop this down, let's say here, I'd rather have, where is it? Yeah, this thing. I want it facing this direction if I can, that's perfect. So over here, everything looks fine. If I really wanted to, I could nudge you there a little bit more. I could also nudge you this way, which is east. I could nudge you east a little bit more. But how about west? Okay, no, west is actually completely fine. Okay. So I believe this actually fits in rather nicely. How about this side? The south-facing side. Oh, that's completely fine as well. Okay, then. I think it's about time to finally plop down our space elevator. And wow, I'm actually rather excited for this. And very quickly, can I just try and do that, for example? There we go. And this thing is absolutely gorgeous. Every single time I get the space elevator unlocked, I've always got to give it a minute just to watch this animation because it really is beautiful. And here we have our space elevator in all its glory. So, the very first thing to do is actually paint our space elevator just like that, and yes, it looks rather gorgeous. The second thing that I then want to try and do is see what the space elevator actually unlocks, and it looks like we can actually get tiers 3 and tier 4 on the hub, otherwise known as phase 1 of the space elevator. But what do we need for it? Oh, 50 smart plating, the exact amount of resources that I was trying to get ready for our last episode. So let's just plop that in there. The cargo has now been loaded. We can then seal the cargo, and this has changed quite a lot since update 8, and I love this new effect, by the way. I think it looks gorgeous. Now that it's sealed, we can then send it out to space, just like so. Oh, look at that. That is sick. So it turns out that was phase 1. I wonder what we unlocked. Let's go check it out right now in the hub. Very first thing I'm interested in is coal power. I do want to try and get just a very basic setup going just so that I can AFK for a bit longer and not rely on biomass. The second thing is vehicular transport. I don't really care much about this other than the 3 inventory slots. We then have steel production, which the most important thing here is actually the steel beams, and you'll see why in just a second, with the enhanced asset security, which unlocks the Xenobasher and again another 3 inventory slots. Moving on now to tier 4, we finally get the blueprint designer, which is great, and this is why I think the steel beams are rather important, because we finally get ourselves the Mark III conveyor belts, which is absolutely great. We then unlock advanced steel, including that Mark II miner, which again is extremely important, as well as the encased industrial beams, which is also extremely important, but that's to do with phase 2. We've also got the expanded power infrastructure, which I don't really care too much about. And lastly, the hypertubes, which again is great for transport, but I don't really care too much about. As of right now, the most important thing is that coal power. And judging by the cost here, we could already get it unlocked, so let's do that. And just like that, coal power has now been unlocked. This is a huge step in the right Ada. This is a huge step in the right direction for finally trying to get a fully automated factory, which we are doing as of right now, but considering we are still relying on biomass, it's not that great. I know from past experiences that there are coal nodes down there, I believe, and there's also a bunch of coal up here. Now in this area over here towards the west of the map, the northwest, this is where I want to have my official big coal power plants. We'll be getting a bunch of coal from down there, a bunch of coal from up there as well. So I think for now, I just want to try and have some sort of temporary plants down there. So let's take a bunch of these, and a bunch of these, and of course a little bit of this and that. Let's start working on our very first coal power plants. First, and hopefully one of only two. And here we are, and wow, doesn't this place look absolutely amazing? There is a load of vegetation, as well as a crash site, of which I haven't found any yet, so this marks our very first one. And of course, not to mention the 4 coal nodes, as well as 3 pure iron nodes that are situated just south of our position. This area is beautiful, but that's the problem. This area is beautiful. I didn't come here for beauty, I've come here to extract the natural resources. So before we get all of our coal and our water extractors placed down, there's something we've got to try and do first. And of course, that's to check out the crash site. I mean, what, did you think I was actually going to chop down all these trees? No, that would be a complete waste of time. Ooh, rotors. So we've got 70 rotors. That's actually really good. Ooh, 17 stators, a brand new item to our playthrough. 95 copper sheets, another 35 stators. We've also got a bit more rotors around here as well, and I think that's about it. No, we've got some more copper sheets. That is absolutely brilliant. How about the actual drop pod itself? Well, we are... Oh, it's free? Oh, damn. Okay, nice. There we have it, our very first hard drive, and this is extremely important to try and get alternate recipes, and I'm going to be using dozens of alt recipes, so this is a vital bit of kit. Now there's one more thing left for us to do. Well, now it's all gone, and it only took about an hour and a half. The main reason as to why I've done this is of course to help us with our coal factory so I can see everything nice and easy, but also to help with our steel factory a bit later on as well. Check out the amount of biomass I was able to get from this. We are looking at a total of 39,685 biomass, which is absolutely fantastic because our factory's been turned off now for a very long time. So let's turn all that biomass into biofuel and get straight back to our coal power plant. Firstly, let's focus on our water extractors, and I want to try and snap our water extractors to the world grid. The way that you can do this is by selecting a foundation. I'm going to go with the 2-meter foundation, and then hold down control. There we go, we are now snapped to the world grid. I'm then going to make sure that I'm looping my foundations out, and just like that, we've now got some foundations in the water. Why exactly am I doing this? Well, if I was to try and place down a water extractor somewhere out here, for example, as you can see, it doesn't snap to anything. But now, when I place the foundations below here, it is snapping to the foundations. So this way you can place the water extractors nice and close to one another, which is absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to try and cover this entire lake in foundations. There we go, perfect. And the next step is to try and calculate how much water do I need. Well, firstly, how much coal have we got? Well, in total, it's 420 coal because we've got 3 pure nodes giving us 120 coal, and then a normal node giving us 60 coal. So yep, 420 in total. And each one of these coal generators consumes 15 coal per minute. So 420 coal divided by 15 coal per minute is 28 coal power plants. And one of our generators consumes 45 water per minute. So 28 generators at 45 water per minute is 1,260 water. And one water extractor gives us 120 water per minute. So 1,260 divided by 120 water per minute is roughly 11 water extractors. That's how many I've got to try and place down. Now, if that's your very first time ever learning about coal, I know that's going to sound a little bit difficult, but I will be explaining the process as I go on, so do not worry if you are a new viewer or if that sounds quite overwhelming, because trust me, it really isn't after you get the hang of it. I mean, can we even get 11 water extractors placed down here? Let's try. Wow, these generators in grey and blue look absolutely sick. So a while later, and this is what we've got, and as of right now it looks extremely basic. In fact, it doesn't really look that great, but it does the job that I need it to do. There is loads of room for expansion, and most importantly, loads of room for us to actually place down our coal generators. Unfortunately though, there's tons of these little gas plants. Luckily, you can destroy them a bit later on, but as of right now, I haven't got the equipment necessary to destroy them. We've also got loads of access points around the factory. So I want to try and start off by building our coal generators right here. So I think we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 8. I'm then going to underclock all of our coal generators to 66.67 megawatts worth of power. This way, you guys only consume 40 water per minute. And if each one of these water extractors produces 120, it means that one water extractor goes straight into 3 of these coal generators, which makes our logistics nice and simple. Then press Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, then our settings automatically get copied and pasted. Again, if we check this setting right there, 75 megawatts, Ctrl-V is now 66.67. Fantastic. It means that we might have to place down a few more of our generators. We've got tons of room to do that though, so I'm not really too worried about that. What I am questioning, not worrying about, questioning, is how exactly am I going to get all my resources up to here? And we've got a miner right here as well, so you'll continue somewhere down there, which luckily I've got a good bit of logistics down here. I am now stuck. You can just go straight down to there. Same with these two here as well. And I'm not quite sure if this is a bug, but I've been noticing this happening quite a lot recently. Sometimes when I place down conveyor belts, I'm then unable to place down conveyor belts in other like mergers or splitters. Like, for example, right there, we can very clearly see that there's nothing connecting this into here. And I can no longer physically connect it there, which is really weird. But before I zoned that conveyor belt, I mean, if I literally do the exact same thing here again, we can now see that do you want to connect into here? Essentially, sometimes if I place down one conveyor belt before the other, I just cannot do anything with my mergers or splitters. It's really weird, but regardless, all I've got to try and do now is connect this through to there. And again, I'm thinking that I'm going to need roughly 45 coal per minute here, because in theory, this should only require like 14 coal per minute, or 13 or 12, but apparently it's still 15, regardless. What I then need to try and do is, just for now, put you somewhere to there. Then you can go somewhere through this wall, then up through around there, and you can just do your thing. But as of right now, I'm just focusing on these 3 coal generators. So now water is our next step, and I think what I want to try and do is this. I want you to be lined up with, yeah, we'll go there. Then make sure that you are all connected into the respective coal generators. The next plan, I suppose, is to try and bring you down, then connect you preferably with that one right there. You're going to go straight through the floor there, which is completely fine. And that's the main reason as to why I've sort of like indented this area into here. Just so that if I do have conveyor belts or pipes, we can see it. Then come down. Wait, haven't we got like a straight mode now? We do have a straight mode. Oh, look at that. Yes, that's beautiful. A brand new thing that was added into updates 1. Beck, that's not lined up. Like I was saying, a brand new feature that was added into update 1.1 is straight pipes. And it's my very first time properly using it, so yeah, that's pretty cool. So now all I've got to do is just put you back to there, put you back to there, and preferably try and get some power over here now. Fantastic, our machines are now powered on. And head lift does not appear to be a problem here. Because the good thing is you actually get like a 10-meter head lift instantly from the water extractor, so you don't need to add anything such as a pipeline pump. You can do that there if you so wish, but I don't see the reason to do it myself. Now that we know that this is actually going to work, I'm actually going to go ahead and remove all the coal from here, and I promise this will make sense. The reason being is that I want everything to completely fill up with water before I introduce the solids, because essentially liquid logistics in Satisfactory is 1,000 times harder than solid logistics. When we were working on our starter factory somewhere over there, our iron products were very easy to do. Iron ore to iron ingots, very simple. But because we're dealing with liquids here, it's really not as simple, unfortunately. So I do want to make sure that all of these guys are completely filled up. I may even add a pipeline pump if we so need it. But before I introduce my solids, I want to make sure that all my liquids are here and that they are completely fine, so that we don't have things like this, where our coal generators are unexpectedly just turning off because they haven't got enough water, despite us actually producing enough water here. And you know what? I'm actually going to add the pipeline pump. I still don't think that we're going to need it, but it's better safe than sorry. And it still looks pretty cool anyway. That will now just do its thing. Now that you guys are filled up with water, we're going to reconnect this. Okay, there we go. We only actually need 13.33 coal per minute, which is about 40 coal rather than 45. Now that this is fully efficient, I'm now going to connect you over there. And that's a pretty good jump already, and this is only 1 out of like 11 of these I'm actually going to place down, so this could be really efficient for us. A few moments later, and this is what we're left with, an additional 9 coal generators to the 3 placed down a bit earlier, meaning that we now have 12 coal generators fully functional, fully active, and producing a good amount of power, so let's check that out. So we are consuming a maximum of 686.8 megawatts, but we are producing 1,160 megawatts, even though it says that we're only making 800. I know the reason as to why that is, and it's nothing to do with my coal power plant, so don't worry too much about that. Now let's try and get this project finished, and hopefully it will end up looking a bit nicer, because I don't want to spend too much longer on this project today, since we've got much bigger things to get done. And there we have it, we have finished our starter coal power plant, and there is still tons of room left around here, which I think will be rather perfect for our future steel factory in this exact same location. Soon we are going to be unlocking Mark II miners as well as Mark III conveyor belts, which means that we can extract more coal from these nodes. The extra coal that we manage to extract can then be combined with our iron ore to make our steel ingots, so luckily this is not a problem. From this setup, we are able to produce roughly 2,000 megawatts worth of power. I believe it's like 1,994, but regardless, it is pretty good. And it also means that I can actually turn off my biomass factory over my starter factory. And that's great because I no longer have to go collect any more biomass unless I need it for the future. I definitely want to try and tidy up those power poles, but also what I've done here is I've added small gaps along the sides where I've put in pipes, and I've also put in conveyors. Some of the pipes are functional, but others, like this one for example, are only here for looks. At least this way it hides the plain walls, so I do quite like it. Regardless, now it's time to return to our starter factory because I want to try and research some more things in the hub and the MAM, which is something I haven't really dived into so far in this series, so let's give the MAM a quick look. Something tells me that Ada is going to continuously interrupt us today. But regardless, the very first thing I want to try and do is actually research and scan our hard drive. This, like I was saying a bit earlier, allows us to try and get some alternate recipes. And there we go, lovely. So let's go check our hard drive. Ada, please, no. So I actually want both of these. Cast screws is absolutely fantastic. And the stitch iron plate, again, is absolutely fantastic. I need oh, you know what? I have to go cast screws. Let's just do that. Because if I had cast screws a bit earlier on, it would have made some parts of this factory a lot easier to do. If I press the letter N on my keyboard, N for November, then type in screws, just like that, or screw, it now comes up with the alternate recipe. And the reason why I like this so much is because for the original recipe, you have to turn your iron ore into iron ingots, your iron ingots into iron rods into screws. Yet here, you're completely avoiding the iron rod recipe, so you go straight from iron ingot into screws. I think resource-wise, it costs pretty much the exact same, but of course you're saving power because it's less machines, and you're saving space because again you're using less machines, so it's pretty good. I love that recipe. We definitely have to try and get some more hard drives, but you know what? I'll probably do a stream about that over the next couple of days. So if you guys like to tune into that stream, then again, let me know in the comments. But regarding the MAM, I think we are just about done there with everything that I need. We'll definitely go hunting for some more power slugs and for some hard drives, most likely in the live stream within the next couple of days. But now let's go back to the hub here. Is there anything here that I necessarily want? Yes, this, absolutely. And there goes the pod. When our pod gets back, I also want to research this blueprint as well as the Mark III conveyor belts. But unfortunately, I haven't got any steel beams or any steel pipes, so that's something I want to try and do right now. So let's head back over to our power plant, unless there's some other coal nodes lying around. I mean, there's a couple up there, but they're going to be relatively far away, and I'm pretty sure I know where these are, and they're in the Red Forest, which is a pretty dangerous area to be in. There are only 2 normal nodes there as well, and they're relatively high up on top of a cliff. And they're over 1,300 meters away. And sure enough, yes, we are in the bamboo forest, and I'm going to be quick with this one because there's tons of things here that want me dead, but let me explain the plan of action. Essentially, I've collected a coal node that's somewhere around there, and another coal node over here, and obviously I don't want to be building my steel factory up here, because there's, again, lots of things want me dead, and it's very far away from my starter factory. So I'll be gathering our 2 normal coal nodes from up there, as well as a couple, I think, pure or normal iron nodes from somewhere around our Titan forest, which again, a lot of things there want me dead. So I'm going to end up building my steel factory somewhere over here, where it's a bit safer, it's a bit flatter, and it's a little bit closer to our base, rather than somewhere out in the Titan forest, or up here in the bamboo forest. And essentially, this is going to be the very final clip I record until I officially switch over to the official 1.1 servers over on the main game. But you can pretty much see what I'm trying to do here. All these conveyor belts, again, the cold conveyor belt from up there and up there, going down there. So that's the plan. I'll meet you guys over on the other side when 1.1 officially launches into the main game. But without further ado, let's do it. And here we have it, update 1.1. Also, as you can see, I've brought the iron over on the left side of the screen and the coal there on the right side of the screen. But because we've only got Mark 1 miners, I'm only able to get 120 iron over here and 120 coal over there. Hopefully when we do get Mark 3 conveyor belts and those Mark 2 miners, we should be able to get a lot more iron and coal. After then, we can then go down over there to our main coal factory, where we can then build our main steel facility. But for now, the very first thing that I want to try and do is plop down our foundry just like that. Perfect. It doesn't matter exactly where I plop down this thing, because the only thing I want to double check is the actual steel recipe, where we're going to need 45 iron ore, 45 coal to make 45 steel ingots. Okay, so it's a 1+1 ratio. So what I'm actually going to end up doing is underclocking this to 30 iron and coal per minute to make our 30 steel ingots. And the reason as to why I want to try and do that is because each one of these conveyor belts for now is only carrying 60 of each resource per minute. So what I can do is add a splitter, then one conveyor belt can then go into 2 of these foundries, meaning that I can plop down 4 foundries in total, of course, until I unlock the Mark 3 conveyor belts and Mark 2 miners, where I can then place a lot more of these foundries down like I've just been talking about. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Add a couple of splitters. Essentially, that's the very first part of our steel factory done. So let's power it on. And don't worry if it doesn't look too neat, by the way. I am going to make this look a lot nicer when we do our main steel factory somewhere down over there. But for now, I just need steel items, so this will have to do. Now let's make some steel beams and a little bit of steel pipes, but steel beams is far more important for our Mark 3 conveyor belts. And it looks like we've got ourselves a 4:1 ratio. So if we're making 30 steel ingots there per minute, 30 divided by 4 is 7.5 steel beams per minute, which really is not a lot. So I think what I'm going to do is make these 3 foundries all produce our steel beams, which should give us 22.5, is my maths correct? Wow, it actually is. And then for our last foundry, we're then going to make some steel pipes. So let's add our merger somewhere there. Now with one constructor overclocked to 150%, we are able to produce our 22.5 steel beams per minute, which for now we'll have to do. Now let's move over to the steel pipes, where I can make 20 steel pipes per minute. Fantastic, sort of. I mean, it's a very simple factory, but now we are finally making some steel products. Now that we're back at the hub, I actually want to try and go for the Enhanced Asset Security milestone. In this tab, we get the Xeno Basher, which is fantastic, a hand equipment slot, and 3 inventory slots. So let's go ahead and select that, and just like so, we'll launch the pod into the outer space. And Aid is going to annoy us, thank you. That's another milestone done on the day. What I've got to try and do now is AFK for a little bit, try and collect some of those steel beams and steel pipes. We'll then unlock Mark 3 logistics, and some other stuff, including the advanced steel production, where we get the Mark 2 miner. These are the 2 most important milestones for the moment. So, a few hours have passed, so let's see how many steel products we've managed to collect. I'll say that's a pretty good amount. So let's start off with our Mark 3 logistics. Now we'll go for the advanced steel production, which then gives us our Mark 2 miner and our encased industrial beams. This is going to be extremely important for our Mark 4 conveyor belts, which I believe we can actually unlock, hopefully in the next tier of the space elevator, which I won't be able to get for a while still, because Ada, like I was saying, I won't be able to get for a while since I'm not really making any of those versatile frameworks or automated wiring just yet. Also, off camera and during a live stream, I actually managed to unlock the Fix-It blueprints, but that's all to do with our next episode and not to do with today. Regardless, these Mark II miners are a very exciting change, especially with these Mark III conveyor belts. because it essentially means that we can increase production on absolutely everything that you see right here. So rather than only having 120 items per minute come out of this miner, we can now have up to 270, since that's what our Mark II miner can produce and it's what our Mark III conveyor belts can handle. But where do we put the additional machines? We haven't got enough room. Well, that's a different problem for a different day. Now it's time to go back to our steel factory to give it some major improvements. So, first things first, let's go ahead and remove absolutely everything over here. Now, I know for you guys, this has only been here for like 2 minutes, but for me it's been almost 5 hours. And after a few short minutes, we now have 2 iron and 2 coal conveyor belts producing 270 items per conveyor belt, or 540 iron and 540 coal per minute. We've also got a limestone node as well. So now when it comes to the foundries, we can see that we can produce 45 steel ingots per minute. And we're making, again, 540 iron and coal. So 540 divided by 45 is 12 foundries that I can place down to handle all of these resources, or 6 foundries per conveyor belt. Right, so let's see how many of them I can fit into here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... maybe 7 there in total, potentially. Actually, I don't think we can get 8 in there. So we can fit 7 in there, but what if I was to try and spin this around? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, only about 7 there. Well, I suppose what I could do is do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 into here. And then maybe even 6 above here, so we can have like 2 different floors for our steel production. That could make things look quite nice, and of course it also adds a bit of elevation to the factory as well, which I massively love. So it ends up looking something a little bit like this, but why do I need this much steel? Well, to answer that question, you're going to have to tune in to our next episode, because that's just about going to do it for today. Thank you very much for watching, liking and subscribing, and thank you for all the support in the series so far. If you guys are enjoying it, don't forget to like and subscribe. But without further ado, have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys on the brand new episode coming out in just a couple days' time. Goodbye.